Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 1, Episode 6 of The Walking Dead, titled TS-19. This is the season finale of Season 1. We start off where the last one picked off, with Edwin Jenner taking them in to the CDC. You know, he's asking all the right questions. Have you been bit? Have you been scratched? You know, he asked the have you been bit question. And Rick says, one of ours was bit. He didn't make it. Sir, you just had to say no. You probably gave... Like, if he was not very quick on the he didn't make it part, Jenna would have probably started blasting. You know, he makes them agree to a blood test, you know. I guess, you know, keep with some type of protocol, he basically says. You know, we then have a kind of like this big old family dinner type thing, you know, where they're all eating. And this one was good, you know, they're all drinking, they're all eating. And just like the last episode where I felt that the relationship they were frosty, you know, they didn't know each other. I felt like this scene was really good because, you know, I felt the hope that they had. Like, they're at the CDC, you know, they might get information, you know, they got some food, they got a warm, they're warm, they got a cold, hot shower, they're gonna have a hot shower, they got food. You know, I could feel the hope, the happiness in the scene, you know? Andrea's not doing too good. Yeah, she misses her. She's not doing too good. Shane's not doing good either. He's kind of going off the deep end a bit. He got a little rough with Lori, and Lori scratched his neck, I guess, you know, so good for her. The episode gets its title from Test Subject 19. That was kind of like the final test subject, I guess. And this is the, you know, test subject. Jenner explains the zombie virus and says, yeah, there's no coming back from that. You're fucked. Yeah, no, can't do that. So, Jenner then basically says, oh, there's a countdown, and when that runs down, the whole thing is going to go kablooey. Also, I'm going to lock you in here for, like, no reason, I guess. Honestly, I don't know. The whole locking them in kind of seemed a bit forced for some reason. I don't know, just... So, they eventually manage to convince him to let him go, but Jackie stays, and Andrea's gonna stay. And then, since, I guess, you know, Dale's an old man. He ain't got much, I bet, but I guess he bonded with Amy and Andrea, you know, the apocalypse, brings people together. He decides today's too. And for the life of me, I don't know if I think Dale choosing to stay with both him, thinking, you know what? Screw it. If this is the end, at least it'll be painless, and both trying to convince Andrea to live. I feel like Dale would have been fine with both outcomes. If they stayed, he'd have been fine, but he's probably a lot more happier with the outcome that did happen. They managed to book it out the CDC before it blew up, which is very fiery. I don't... it was a very fiery explosion. And, you know, that's kind of how the season ends. Also, spoiler alert for Season 2. we later find out at the end of season 2 that no matter what you do, how you die, you turn. And we find out that it was given to Rick this episode, in this one. And I feel like we could have learned this information in this episode. Since, like, I'm pretty sure in the comics we already knew it at this point. Well, I think, actually, I've never read the comics, but I don't think they went to the CDC in the comics. I think, I don't know. I feel like it'd have been a fine thing to do to just have it in this one, in the season, like, oh shit. Yeah, that's bad. That way we could have Rick having this conflict, you know, in the second season of, should I tell him? Was Jenner lying, you know? Jenner did kill himself, so maybe he was just, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of glad they got rid of Jackie. She was kind of a nothing character, to be honest. Like, really, a nothing character. At least Ed was there to be a piece of shit. Jim at least had some good little character moments. Amy was there to basically kick Andrea's story to second gear. But Jackie, she didn't do shit. When they wrote her, I'm pretty sure they wrote her knowing that she was gonna die. And that hurt her because they basically didn't really write her to do anything. I mean, she had some lines, some, I guess, decent lines, but, like, she was a nothing character. Which is fine, you know, we need the nothing characters that have names, so, you know, either like, oh, damn, so-and-so died. The stakes are really high, but, overall, I don't know, this didn't really feel like a finale. I felt like the last episode felt more of a finale-ish because, you know, they were leaving the quarry. But this was a fine episode, but I don't know if it really felt finale-ish. Overall, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.